guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got a knock on the door just a little while ago, and there was a package there, and sure enough, it is our Defi oil pressure gauge. So I wasn't actually expecting this to arrive until next week, but it was a nice little surprise today, so I'm pretty happy about that. And so with that being said, we are going to be doing the oil pressure gauge install a lot sooner than I thought. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside the box. Okay, so when I got this box, it did look a little beat up. Just kind of, there's no tape really holding this box together. Everything just kind of open-ish. It was inside of another bigger cardboard box that was, you know, well taped up and everything. But I'm just mostly surprised that this wasn't really secured. But I did go ahead and open up this part of it just to check if the gauge was good, because it did sound like there was like broken glass or something in there. So I wanted to make sure it didn't break. So let's go ahead and open up the rest of it and see what's inside. Okay. Gauge. Gauge came out that easy because I already had pulled it out before to make sure it wasn't broken. There is tape that's going to be keeping it taped up to this box, so you can kind of see where I tore it right there when I was getting it out earlier. But the gauge is good. I went with the all red, so these will light up all red, and then the needle is red as well. You do have your top bezel little set ring. That's what I like to call it, I guess. I don't know what it's really called, but usually you can turn these and kind of like set like wherever you want, like I guess kind of like a little, actually it'd be more like that the oil pressure's, you know, super low or something. So if you see the needle go down here and it's down there from the corner of your eye, then you know something's bad. We've got a warranty card. It says Japan, bunch of stuff in Japanese. Cool. Yep. And then you have some type of instructions, which I'm going to assume are going to be very vague. Yeah, just doesn't, not really looking like, this looks like it's, oh, actually it does have some decent instructions. Okay. Well, it actually comes with a base, it looks like, which I'm surprised by because I didn't think it would come with anything like that. And it gives you like your listed stuff that you should have, and then like a diagram on how to wire some of this shit up or where to wire it into. We're not worried about that because we already know where this is going to go. But I'm going to reference this again just in case for the wiring. Okay, so we have our gauge, we have a gauge pod, and then we have the bag for the bag for the base plate of the gauge pod, which is pretty cool because I didn't think it was going to come with anything. So that's pretty nice to know that they at least have a little basic option for people. You got your pressure sensor right here with this nice little protective cap. Make sure you take that off, of course. Then you have your extension for the pressure sensor, and then this red clip clips right into the back. I'm sorry, I don't know why my camera's having such issues focusing. This clips right into the back of the gauge, and then I believe this is where your power source cable, but that just clips into the back of this. And then you have some loose little wires right here that probably go to some type of power source. I'm not sure. We'll read the instructions and see what people say, but that is what comes with it. You need a killerb dual sender adapter. This allows you to run the stock one on this side and then the aftermarket one on this side. And I believe the reason why they have it like this is because you still need to keep the stock one for the ECU to receive information from. So that is why killerb came out with this, and we will show you where this goes, of course, in the install. And then we got some Permatex high temperature thread sealant. This is highly recommended to use. You could either use this or you could use the PTFE tape. You just make sure you have something to seal those threads, because we are working with oil and pressure, and there's going to be pressure going through there. You don't want to spring a leak. We are going to go over what you're going to need in order to connect the harness. So first thing is you're going to want to buy 3 of these mini out-of-circuit holders. There are various methods to installing this harness, but this is just the method I chose to go with to keep it simple and not having to, you know, tap into, you know, the stereo harness or other harnesses around the car, or, you know, solder anything. So this is a very easy method, and you should be fine because it has fuses and things like that, so you're not going to short anything out or, you know, blow anything. Okay, so you're going to want 3 of these, and you can get I got these particularly at O'Reilly's. So probably try to call your O'Reilly's ahead of time and see if they have these in stock, because the mini ones usually go missing a lot, and then they only have the regular size one, which isn't gonna fit. Okay, you're gonna need something to strip the wires. I don't have a wire stripper really, so I just use this, which is fine. Just apply just a little bit of pressure on there, not enough to cut the wire, but just enough to like kind of crease the rubber around it, and then kind of twist around, and then take this off, and then I just pull it with my finger just to be safe, and then it comes off, does the trick. And then some kind of pliers or something, so that way you can actually pinch the little connector sleeve things together. I don't know the term for it. And then you're gonna want to buy a little pack of terminals. I forgot what these are, just circles, or just, they should just be called terminals, but these are the circle ones, and they are the Builder Series Professional 16 to 14 gauge kit right here. This also comes with some shrink wrap in it, so that way you can make sure it's fully secured, and just makes it look a little bit more professional. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what I've done with the harness. Okay, so here is the harness, and as you can tell, there are some fuses already on here because these are the ones from the car. I wanted to refilm this part of the video, so ignore those fuses for now until we get to the next part. So here is our grounding wire. As you can see, the shrink wrap looks nice on there. Here's your illumination wire, the white one. So here's the little sleeve I was talking about. Make sure it's in there, and then it's pinched, and make sure that you stripped enough of this rubber coating on the outside to expose the, you know, the wire that's actually on metal to metal, and then pinch it down, and then give it a nice pull, make sure it's good. And that's one. I don't know, sorry for the focusing issues. Here's your orange. This is going to go to your ignition source, or in my case, I asked Turbo Joe, because I was having issues initially when I was testing out this gauge to get it to turn on, and I actually had it plugged into the wrong ignition when I had it on the start one instead of the meter ignition, and we're going to go over that when we get to the fuse box. But I ended up plugging this actually into the cigar lighter now. And then we have, oh wait, let me go back. The reason why I have this heat shrink right there is because the sleeve actually ended up getting messed up, and I didn't crimp it enough, and the wire fell out, so I couldn't reuse the crimp, so I ended up just chopping this blue thing off this end, and just stripping this wire, and then just fusing them together, and then heat shrinking them. These do come with this, just so you guys know. You don't have to buy the sleeve, it already comes attached on this end. And then here is your power wire, same thing. So that is pretty much it. I'm sorry I didn't show you the process of it, but it's pretty damn easy. Let's go ahead and go to the car, and I'm going to show you where you plug that in. Okay, so I apologize if I do also sound tired in this video. Yesterday, me and Hayden decided to go on this 70-mile bike ride, and yeah, I was pretty exhausted by the time I came back. I had planned to finish this video yesterday, but yeah, here we are today. And it's probably a better choice anyway, because, you know, it's daytime, so you should be able to see everything I'm pointing out in this video. So let's get to the fuse box. Because once we mount our ground to right here to this bolt near the steering wheel or steering column, we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna show you guys by just reading out the color of the wire and the number associated with that circuit. So if you look on this circuit board, right below every little circuit, there is a number under that circuit so you know which slot it is. So I'm just going to simply read off the slot number and then read off the color of the wire that goes into there. For our orange wire, we're going to go ahead and put the orange wire in slot number 20, which is our cigar. The white wire, which is the illuminate wire, we're going to go ahead and put in slot number 16. And keep in mind that you're pulling out those original fuses and putting them into these and the way you want to put it is like this direction. You want to put the original fuse on the bottom and then the new little fuse, which it needs to be a smaller number than the fuse that was from the actual slot. So this one is a 3 and then the bottom is a 7.5. Okay, if I'm wrong, correct me on that, but that is what I've taken out of doing my research and watching videos and stuff about using these. Your red wire, your power wire, is going to go into slot number 10, and we're gonna just kind of try to fit that in there. There we go. And then after that, you are pretty much done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna plug in the end of this cable, which is the white clip, into our gauge. And we're just going to test and see if it works by turning on the ignition of the vehicle. I've already gone ahead and plugged back in the battery. So if you haven't, you're going to need to do that before you can, obviously turn on your car. So you put in the key. And you turn on the ignition, the accessories on. And there we go. Our gauge is on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to test if it actually dims when we turn on our headlights. So turn your headlight switch on. Yep, it dimmed out. Turn your headlights off. It's back bright. And what that does with the illuminate, that white wire, that's an optional wire. That's just so you have this function whenever it's nighttime, that when you turn your headlights on, it'll dim it down like it does with the rest of the interior lights. But that is it. We already know it's working. So next part, ignore the oil pressure. Obviously the oil pressure sensor ain't plugged in. So we're going to go ahead and get that part started. Okay, I forgot to say, this is the time where you want to kind of put this panel back together if you want to. For me, I'm going to leave it open. I'm just going to go ahead and tidy these up by just using some zip ties and things to tidy up these wires just a little bit. Wherever I put the gauge today is not going to be the actual final location, because I am waiting for my AC vent gauge to get here. So things are going to change. But for now, I'm going to kind of leave it like that. I'm going to try to tidy up what I can, and that's what you guys want to do, is kind of zip tie some of these things, roll it up into somewhere, and kind of, keep it out of the way. And I will see you guys on the engine side, and we're going to get started on installing that oil pressure sensor. Okay, now we are going to start on installing these sensors right here in the killerb adapter. So we've gone ahead, removed this sensor, the stock one, and we're going to still reuse that because the killerb adapter allows you the ability to use the stock one and the aftermarket one. Okay, so what we're going to need is either some thread sealant, the paste right here, this is high temp, or you're going to need some Teflon tape. It's up to you, whatever preference you want to use. The only con to using the paste is that it takes a long time to cure, and even when it does cure, it still stays slightly pliable. Be prepared to have your car down for a little bit if you do the paste route. So we're just gonna spread this around the threads. Make sure you get it in there. Make sure it fills in those threads nice and good. Okay, make sure these threads are all good. Okay, and then just wipe off the excess on the top. So I just make sure that the top of this sensor is nice and clean. Move any of that extra that might have gone onto it. And then kind of visually inspect, make sure all the threads have a nice coating around them. I see some spots right here. Ooh, shit, too much. And then just spread that out then, if you put too much. Okay, so waited a little bit. We're gonna go ahead and, if I can get this in focus, screw in this killerb adapter. I'm sorry if it's a little blurry. I am just setting up this camera and just hoping for the best whenever it comes to doing this. So you already see where the hole is. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that by hand. These are PT or pipe thread fittings, so they are meant for, you know, hydraulics, liquids, and things like that. So typically the threads kind of do most of the work and kind of sealing it, but you still have to put, of course, some type of sealant on there to, you know, reassure that it actually doesn't leak. But when it comes to actually twisting this, you're gonna do this all by your hand. So I'm gonna give it another twist. I did it with my hands until it got slightly snug, and give it one more turn around. And this doesn't take that much, guys. Don't over tighten it. And then next, you want to install the bottom sensor. And this one, it should be rather easy to install this one, like by hand. Okay, and then just a little bit of a wrench, if you can fit it in there. That thing is in there, I think. Ugh. So I'm gonna do one little turn. Still keeping an eye that it's not causing in turn the adapter itself to spin, because you don't want that. I know it's stupid me doing that with the belt right there, but hey, it can work. It'll work. Okay guys, so we got both sensors on there. Trust me, you don't want to over tighten this, because the reason, if you over tighten this, you're gonna end up stripping out the block right there, and you have to get that retapped or something, and it's just gonna be a nightmare. Okay, so it's better to under tighten and then have like a little bit of a leak or drops or something, and then be able to at least fix that. So go ahead, tighten that up. And in terms of the aftermarket Defi gauge sensor on the bottom of it, I mean, you're gonna try to hand tighten this, but there's also like a little area for a wrench to get on there and tighten it down. It's gonna be a 17mm wrench to do that. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out the battery on this camera because it's about to die. I'm gonna show you where I routed the harness at and how we're gonna kind of make that look neater. Okay, so new battery in. Where we left off was we put both sensors, the factory sensor on the bottom, the aftermarket one on the top, and how we are going to route these wires, I'm going to show you. So if you could look in between here, you can see here is the extension for the pressure sensor to the gauge. Okay, so I have that routed right here near the battery. Because there's these harnesses right here already that I'm going to zip tie that to, and then I have it routed right through here, and then it goes down under here and into the fender. And so, no, this isn't it right here, this is the hood latch thing, but it's under here, underneath there, and it's inside the fender. And if you look, you see it coming out from right here. Because I did run into a little dead end where I got to jack up the car, and probably take off the wheel to get in there, because there is where one of the main harnesses go through, there's like a little grommet thing in there, and it's really hard to try to fit your hand in there and to open it up enough to slide this through. It's gonna come right underneath the dash, right where the fuse box is. It's gonna come out from right there, which is perfect. That is why I picked that route. It's a lot simpler than trying to go through one of the firewall areas right there and then trying to fish out that line from somewhere under the dash and taking your whole dash apart and all that kind of stuff to get to it. You guys can choose how you want to do it. We are going to zip tie this pigtail right here to the existing pathway of this temperature sensor right here. Okay, so we're just going to follow it, zip tie it right onto that, and that should be the exact path we need. We got enough material, everything, so let's just do that to keep these wires out the way. You know, you don't have to do this, but I mean, if you just want wires dangling around everywhere, that's up to you. Distracting me. Okay, so that's cut. Get the other one, lift the pigtail up, and we're just gonna zip tie it to this next part right here. See it right there? I'm just trying not to waste a lot of zip ties on the small little area. You know what, let's just put one in the middle just to give it extra stability. Look at dead. See, zip ties, one of the greatest inventions, man. Okay, so that's there, and then this is just gonna loop up right here because it's gonna meet up with our other cable right there, and that's how we're gonna get a nice kind of look going on with this. Same thing, just grab this wire. Hopefully this video ain't too long. This isn't really a hard job at all. I like this because there's no fluid getting spilled, there's no fluid that needs to be replenished for now, until we know. But you know what I mean. It's a straight up easy kind of plug and play install. The hardest part, to be honest, I think is trying to find where you want to route the cable through into the cabin. And that's just me, because I don't like I said, I don't want to fish through the center console for that shit. It's a fucking pain in the ass. I'm just gonna use my area in the wheel well, and even that's still a pain in the ass because I gotta jack up the car now. So okay, we got our other one right here, and it'll plug in right there. And like, whoa. I apologize. I forgot one step before we move on, because this is how we run into problems. Remove your shit that you had under there, okay? I mean, I would have done a visual check anyway before starting the car. And don't forget to plug back in your stock oil pressure gauge. I almost forgot to, or oil pressure sensor. Don't forget to plug that in. So what I gotta do is, you know, you get to grab the little bolt that had the spacer on it. Okay, we got the rubber nub thing back on. Just make sure you pull that off so we can get a good look and see if there's anything leaking from the stock sensor location. And then yeah, just make sure you do that. Okay, so back to what I was gonna do. I gotta jack up the car. Come on. I'm just gonna follow the exact trail of this harness and how it goes like that and goes right into there. We're just gonna kind of puncture a hole in there because I cannot peel this open. It's hard. You can't really do that. So you gotta make your own hole around there, and yeah, and then feed it through, which I'll probably make a hole up top here because it's kind of soft, the rubber right there. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna find something to make that hole with. Okay, I've gone ahead. I've put the tire back on, I've torqued my lug nuts back to the correct torque spec, and basically all I finished up doing was zip tying the harness, the wire for the gauge to the harness, and then I poked a hole in the rubber grommet and then fed it through, and it came out right underneath the dash. Around here, and then I just fed it through. And like I said, guys, I'll repeat this again so you guys know, if you're paying attention, I'm only routing it this way because I'm going to use this temporary gauge pod right here to have the gauge on, just for this video. Okay, I am waiting on a AC vent gauge that's 3D printed from somebody on Etsy to come in, and when I do that, I'm going to route the wires actually from behind here, behind the dash, and into the part of the AC vent. Okay, so keep that in mind. I'm only doing this for the sake of having this operational and testing out that everything works, and for this install video. So keep that in mind before I get people saying, oh, the way you routed it's ugly or whatever else. This, of course, isn't the way I'm gonna really do it. I'm just doing this for temporary. How I'm going to mount this gauge is, this gauge does come with two screws to tap that you can just drill right into your dash if you want to go that route and use the stock gauge, which there's nothing wrong with this. I actually like this, and I wouldn't mind drilling that into my dash and all that and doing that. But since I do have that AC vent option coming in, I really want to try that one out and see how I like it. But I'd more than likely, if I ever did do a gauge thing, it would probably be through here, the cubby, or I'd get the dual dual ones that go right here. But yeah, like for now, yeah, we are just gonna put it on there. I'm gonna apply it with some double-sided 3M tape to hold the gauge pod on there, and we're just gonna mount our gauge pod temporarily there. Okay, so I put the double-sided tape on here. We're good to go. I need 2 hands in order to peel this shit off, but you guys already know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna peel this off and plop it onto the dash, making sure that the wires have enough, you know, length to go into the back of the panel through this little hole right back here and plug into the gauge. Okay, we've gone ahead, we've routed the wires up, and I will repeat this for the gazillion millionth time. Route your wires how you want. I only routed this like this for temporary use because these are actually going to go underneath the dash and run to the AC vent where I have an AC pod that's coming here. So that's why I left all the slack and why I routed like this, just so you guys have something to look at for the video. That is really it for this install. We'll go ahead and you know, turn it on and see how it looks. Voila. If you have it on correctly and you turn on your auxiliary stuff, it should read 0 because of course there's 0 oil pressure right now until you turn the car on. That is it for this install video. If you guys have any suggestions of things I could have done better, or you guys have experience installing this yourselves or followed this video and you came up with your own methods of doing things, please leave it in the comments so that other people can see some different options on how to maybe route the wires, what you guys did, what did you guys do, and where you placed your gauge and stuff like that, just so it can help out some of those other guys out there that want some different options for routing these cables and, you know, mounting their gauge pod somewhere. Okay, the reason why I did mine is just one way, because I'm gonna have it mounted into an AC vent. I know some people like to mount it in the little cubby holder or even the pillar. I'm sorry, I'm tired still from yesterday. But yeah, just leave it in the comments and share the knowledge. See you guys later in my next video, and hopefully we should be getting the rest of the parts for the oil cooler install. Already got the fire sleeves, showed up in the mail yesterday. All we're waiting on is some fittings, the lines, and the sandwich plate. And then we should have that video series hopefully wrapped up soon. I think it should still be probably a 2-part series. Well, 2 more videos for that series. But anyways, see you guys later. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys can see what other videos I release. And I'll see you guys later.